Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Stuart from Patrol Base, and you join us here today on our new format, live stream. So this is a bit more of a podcast, and today we're going to be focusing on workshop upgrades, what you can do to your AEG. If you've got any questions about whether or not it's parts, certain brands, anything like that, this is the place to do it. I'm joined by an entire team behind the scenes. We've got Nick on the tech side, so when your questions and stuff start coming in, we can look at them and make sure that we're getting your information. We've got Sam in the background doing other bits and bats, and today I'm joined by Mark Pinder, the manager of our workshop. So first thing, we'll actually, rather than dive in straight into the workshop and everything like that and parts and everything, it's more... you've been in Airsoft for a long time. So, I mean, I've been in 2013, 2010, I think was when I started, maybe even longer than that. And I think I met you probably about the same time. And probably Fearful Silence up near us. We've done it. So how did you get into Airsoft? And not only that, what made you then move on to tech work? Was it an interest, or did it just fall in your lap because you wanted to do it yourself?
We're getting into Airsoft pretty much. It's more I go in with word of mouth, really. One of my friends, Marcus Robinson, he came to my house one day and said, I just mentioned it, really. So then I went round to his, and he showed me the gun, and then from there he says, come with us on a Sunday.
It went to that childhood thing of running around with sticks, and then it was actually something that fired something. Exactly the same as me. I mean, a mate of mine said, you're going to enjoy this. And I was like, what is it? And it was, here's an M16 with a drum mag on it, and we ran out into a field with a lot of other mates.
Straight to
shot each other. All legally. But so the tech side of it, because I knew you before you started at Patrol Base. You've been here many years recently, but obviously previous to that, we've ran at sites together. We've ran sites together. You've run sites on your own. I've run sites on his own. So we've run in similar circles. But after running the sites and everything, what got you into the sort of tech side of it? Was it a necessity of working on your own guns, or was it just an interest?
Interest, and I've just always had this thing of I like to make the gun work the best it can, have the up-to-date technologies in it, things like that. Once you start delving into them type of things, it becomes just really interesting.
So you're touching on technology, and I think I had a discussion with someone a few days ago, even going back what's essentially a short period of time, 10 years in Airsoft, because Airsoft's been around since, say, the 80s. When I started, like MOSFETs, electronics in weapons and stuff like that, if you weren't looking at the PTWs or the Systemas, you were building your own MOSFETs, you were wiring them yourself, and a version 2 gearbox was the pinnacle, and that's only 10 years ago. So when it comes to technology now, do you think MOSFETs, like Gate Titans, are obviously incredible, but do you now think there's too much choice? Or do you have a narrow opinion of, if I'm going to pick something, I'm going to put that in it, or does every MOSFET that you've seen at the moment have a place?
Not every MOSFET. As personal opinion, I go towards Gate Titan, BTC and Black Talons, from working on NGRSs, things like that. But the Titan stuff is just as good within the recoil thing.
I mean, I've got a Titan in mine, and as soon as that got put in it, it's incredible. But my thing, that because I know gearboxes and things like that, but I don't really know the various stages of MOSFETs. Obviously, they've got active brakes, and you've got the Titan. The Titan has everything in it.
Yeah, that's your full score.
Why do they have like the Warfet, the Nano?
I think that was Gates' stages to. Personally, I feel it's their stages to get to the Titan.
So they came out obviously before
the pre,
and they've upgraded.
But obviously the Warfet still has a place as.
It's not been superseded by the Titan.
It hasn't, because the Titans, they've only got them for the 3 platforms at the moment, which is version 2, version 3. And the
absolutely,
So if you're going for a P90 or anything like that sort of build.
And what does that Warfare offer you?
It gives you...
That in the P90, that currently, obviously, they don't do the Titan for them. So what can that Warfare do for someone that wants to get that P90 up to a standard of what they want?
there's all the active braking, so you're going to get a quicker stop start with your firing.
Yeah, so for people that don't understand, if as you're going through these, it's the same. I mean, this goes back to again me 10 years ago, stood at my safe zone and people talking about gearboxes and everything like that. You're starting out, someone mentions a gearbox and it does this, that, and the other, and I'm just looking at them like, what is that? What? I just don't know. So you say active braking, is that...
So this is something that controls the motor that's in your pistol grip or in the rear of the rifle. So it controls how it starts and how it stops. So generally a normal motor will stop, it'll stop, do a hard stop, and the gears inside will do a mechanical stop. But with active braking, that then is you're getting to choose when the motor stops, not when you release the trigger. So
it's almost going from that sort of analog style thing to a digital on-off situation.
On-offs, yes.
And obviously that's going to increase longevity of gearboxes, motors, internal parts, and so you're getting more life out of it.
Yes.
But is that improving the capabilities of or is it just a life?
It's more of a life thing that...
it's not really a trigger response.
That's not really a trigger response. This is sort of where I sort of move on back to the Gate Titans. Yeah. With them, you get to choose what trigger response you have.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you, when you ever built mine, you've got 5 or 6 different ones.
6 settings
and
in
the
there.
new one's just now a single sensor. Because I think the one I have, it's got the 5 light sensors, and then it's the NGRS one that's got a single one, and you've got like a gauge on it.
Yes, it is. Yes, sorry, and you can actually fine tune that.
Fine tune it to be exact, and then you can also do it like binary. So if you pull a trigger and you've got it on 5 settings, you don't have to come all the way off.
Yeah.
You can come just past 1 setting, and obviously my favourite thing on the Titan, and it's what bounds it way beyond any other MOSFET, is the precocking.
I know where you're going with that.
Yeah. The precocking is just, it turns an AEG into the trigger response and the sort of efficiency of like a HP aero gas.
Yes.
Almost,
yeah. I mean, we're doing that instant shot with it. It just improves your.
So again, if people aren't aware of what precocking is, your piston sits next to your hop unit at the front of the gearbox, and obviously when you pull the trigger, the gear comes back and it releases. The gear comes back and it releases. That precocking,
it does it before you shoot.
Basically,
you hear the wind.
Yeah.
So normally you'll fire.
Yeah.
Then you'll hear the wind.
Yeah.
When you're precocking, you'll hear the fire.
So the piston sits at the back of the gearbox.
Yeah. So it sits
and it's almost like on a sear type system.
Yeah. So it's releasing instantly.
Releases it precocked. Yeah. So apart from like the active braking and stuff like that, I think the other good thing about the Titan and the Warfets and stuff like that is you've got the rate of fire systems, you've got the protection. The big thing now is changing away from physical contacts, so your copper contacts and stuff like that, and having the micro switch and direct
direct light sensors inside the Titans. I mean, there's like moving away from the Titan to the BTC. They're still on the switch.
Yes.
Switch settings.
And it's still a working system.
Still an absolute working system. It's fantastic because if you go to the Evo, that's what their brand new system is working in there with their MOSFETs.
Yeah.
Because over the past sort of 5-6 years, with the evolution of their product, their MOSFET internally has just improved 7-fold. It's just every time they've just improved that little bit. Because when we've worked on it, well, why haven't they done this? And then all of a sudden they've done it.
Do you think the Evo was the sort of that kick up the arse really when that came out? Obviously, again, going back to say the PTWs and things like that, when we started, you had AGs, and if you wanted something like electronic and with sort of features in it, you had to go PTW, and you're looking £1,000, anything like that. Silly money for someone that's 18 to 20 year old, or like that. The Evo came out, and it had all that in it. It had the bolt stop. It had the battery protection. And do you think that when that came out, there was then a sort of almost like an arms race almost?
It topped. I think it topped the market.
Yeah.
I mean, before you had your starter range, which was sort of 100, 200.
I think we were a D-Boys.
D-Boy.
Just a box. That was one of the first things I ever bought.
I think the first thing I got a combat machine. It was a Raider. I mean, anyone starting out, just for the kids, stuff like. I mean,
Yeah.
spot on gun, just for a straight out of the box.
I'll come on to a bit, but the starter thing like Raiders and pistols and stuff like that. I mean, as someone that delves inside everything, I'll let you finish on the Evo first, but we'll have a look at what is the best thing internally to look at, because you'll want to know that there's reliability in certain brands to others. But the Evo,
the Evo, pretty much with the system inside there. They've, like I said, got the mag stop. They've got you've got your electronic trigger, and obviously your cycle detection in there.
And that, I think that was probably one of the things that
was
Gate would have looked at.
Yes,
literally counts the teeth.
They've looked at that. They've definitely gone.
Yeah,
this is where we need to. This is where we need to go, because but then the Evo used to still have something called the cut-off lever inside, and that used to work on a switch system. But then again, I've looked at it recently in this last sort of release, and they look like they've looked at Gate and gone, why have we still got this bit in here? We don't need it anymore. Yeah. So now they've swapped. Now they've gone. Yeah. They've gone the other way, and it's like
R&D and everything like that. Things take time to develop, so you kind of see that little bit of an airsoft arms race of technology, MOSFETs and stuff like that. And then you see other brands coming in. I think there's Perun, Jeff Trot, and all that kind of stuff. And you see other people trying to come in, and some people will prefer them brands because a lot of things with airsoft is personal experience. You'll get some people that will buy something and they'll absolutely love it, and they'll be like, this is the best thing ever.
This is the best thing.
And because they've had a good experience, and then someone else will buy it or have used it in a theatre and say, oh, I didn't really like that. And they'll say, oh, I didn't really like it. And airsoft is a big word of mouth style thing.
So what I would say though,
and you'll get little
groups. I would just, with people back getting certain guns and people saying this is good. But if you think that this gun's not, if someone said that gun's not good, but I would advise, if you like that gun,
go and get it.
Go and get it, man.
Because internally, everything does the same thing.
They do the same thing. And the way you've got to sort of mentally look at it is, like with anything you buy, there's a bracket.
Yes.
A price bracket. I mean, I'm gonna move the Evo out of that bracket, because the Evo should be about £600-700 to buy, but I'm moving that out of there. But everything else, you look at it, you get all them brands. You get Spectre, you get Lancer, you've got Evolution. They're all the same, as in a case of their standard.
They're a version 2 gearbox firing a BB down a brass barrel, but one has put this MOSFET in it, one's put this MOSFET in it, and obviously, like what we were on about earlier before we started, we're on about like the G&G trigger issue years and years ago. Yeah. There was an issue where there was a slight extra bit of travel, and you had to deliberately put the effort in. But when you're in game and you're all that, and you pull the trigger, you could bend the switch. Yeah. They went back and went, this isn't right. They've changed it, they've fixed it and stuff like that. So one person will have had that G&G, had that happen to them, and go, these are naff rubbish. I don't get that. Get this, and the other. But whereas G&G are now an absolute staple of the rental market. Everyone's using Raiders. Everyone's tried to go for like a slightly cheaper one, and then gone, I'm having to fix these every single time. So the CM16, every single market just has it and everything like that. Whereas someone will have got the G&G, and they'll have run it normally and this, that, and the other, and it's just absolutely perfect. And they'll be telling their mates, going, oh, I've got this, have a go with it, it's awesome, this, that, and the other. Whereas you've got these two different circles now of groups of people. One will like it, one won't like it, purely because of experience.
But saying again, with the advancement of internally, again, with G&G, they're looking with their G2 gearboxes, which so basically you're looking at if everyone knows the Crytek, how good that gearbox is. Yeah. The G2 gearbox is pretty much that with a MOSFET in it. Right. Pre-done with your trigger, all going a mag stop.
You've touched on Crytek. I was going to bring them up. So, I mean, Crytek just have absolute stunning builds. Like, but I've always had that, and this is a personal thing. Yeah. You look at a Crytek, and then you look at, say, an Evo, or where Airsoft has gone with all this technology ramping. The Crytek have gone on just build quality rather than electronics. So what makes them stand out over something like an Evo, the G&G with the electronics in it. Why would you go for the Crytek that is
the
base model? It is just a version 2 gearbox.
It is just a version 2 gear. Very well built.
But that's what I mean. Is it built at such a good quality that it does beat some of these other brands?
As in, I mean, the thing is, again, you could go to the Evo. Their gearbox, CNC'd. It's a fantastic thing. But when I look at the Crytek, everything. You get your G&Gs and sort of your dust covers and things like that. When you pull the charging on and coming back, this is all on the gearbox. This is all now a one unit thing. Right. It's not you take your receiver off, you up the receiver off to get you got it all dropping out, and you're trying to get change you get your hop out, just have a change of hop rubber or something like that. Now it's just a set unit that you can just take out. But I mean, the thing is, I've always said this: why haven't they? They must have it in the pipeline. They must be moving on to putting
something in there. Because I think the Crytek is probably one of my least worked on platforms. Like when I've owned bits or mates have owned bits, looked inside, and I think the Crytek gearbox is probably the least gearbox I've ever seen. Yeah. And is that a testament to how well they run? But don't they have a space pre-made in the back already for stuff, or are they just?
It comes with its own. MOSFET for protection, just for voltage protection.
And that's just to protect the battery or the actual
protect the battery.
Because you don't want that going off.
You don't want that going off. So that's all.
So if that detects something, it just shuts the line off and it stops a LiPo burning in your stock or all like that. So obviously, when you're looking at stuff like that, the Crytek would you say the Crytek is the favourite thing as a personal level if you had an array of brands in front of you and you chose one to upgrade, maybe not personally, but if you were recommend it to someone, would you pick the Crytek to then dive in, or would you go for a cheaper brand and spend that budget on the bits internally?
If I was to go and advise to someone, I would push an Evo straight out them. I mean, the reason why you're getting that good build quality internally, you're already getting your MOSFET and all the bells and whistles with it that way. Yes, they can be improved. Everything can be. Air seals, things like that, triggers, all that sort of thing, barrels, hop rubbers. But that's as far as you really need to go with that. You don't need to
it's
go
like
to
I've
the
always
extent.
Recommended with people looking at recoils. People go TM or ERG. The ERG is that all-encompassing thing out of the box, whereas TM are amazing, but a lot of people want to chase that fable of what TM is.
The thing is
it essential?
With TM, you can have a good game day without even touching it.
Exactly.
I feel. I mean, I'm one of these. I got a TM Scar H. I fitted a BTC Spectre. It got Prometheus gears. It got the barrel. It got the hot. Yes, once you start putting that in it, they are very.
Do they hit that fabled mythology?
They do hit the fabled mythology. I mean, if I could draw a line of how far I've shot, one of the sites I used to run, Respawn, which you've been to across the valley. I just remember the day when I shot a lad across a valley with it. I mean, may have had wind, a bit of magic, bit of maroon magic dust carrying it across. But it got there. That I'm going, wow,
So, and again, is you're recommending the Evo because of the potential it has? Is it your favourite to work on? Is it easy to work on?
It's a very tech friendly gun. Which I think they've actually gone out of the way to do that.
Is that from probably the R&D and the drawing board that?
Yeah, they've thought about that product. They've looked at that and they've gone. I don't know if it's from a building it themselves point of view as well, because if it's simple to do that way, then it's it makes it easier for them to build them and deal with them, repair them, etc. But it's what you get with it that is the
it's always that thing with myself included as an airsofter. It's always that price point thing. You're going.
It's within that bracket.
It's in that. It's a step of. It's a one-off purchase. It's a treat. It's all like that. But you're getting all them extra bits with it.
I mean, I can't remember off the top of my head what one is now, about 330 or something like that.
The technology that's in that,
it's already there. So, but if you go and get yourself, say, a Crytek, you for one of the rifles, you'd be looking top end of like nearly 400, and then to get
You're still gonna have fun, but
yeah, you're still gonna have fun. But to put in what's in that particular product, you would then have to buy the tyre. You would then have to do this and other various little things to get it to that point.
So if someone, obviously, I mean, my again, this is a personal point of view, especially with the Evo. I just don't like the look of it. It's that small. I've always been. It's mag size. It's kind of a massive Marmite thing.
Yeah.
It's not really 9mm platforms. I've got a 9mm MWS with the conversion kit, stuff like that. So I can have small compact thing. I just don't know what it is about that CZ look that doesn't float my boat. So if I'm going M4, and obviously you can look at the PTWs, the TMs, and the high end and stuff like that, but the Crytek and the G&G, where in the market does someone look if the Evo is amazing, but if you look at it again,
sorry for the lower. I'm just saying that for that, like I said, the brackets that people purchase in. Yeah. So if you're just wanting to try it out, you're gonna go. A lot of the time now, people got Spectre. They choose at massive range.
I mean, there's almost when you can say there's too much choice.
I know, but I do feel that, and that's my own personal opinion.
That's a good thing that they are trying to find that exact build that someone wants. So, I mean, a lot of people, like, again, going back a few years, you'd get your M4 and you go, right, I've bought that, I now need to put the rail I want on it, I need to put the stock I want on it, and you need to either know how to do it, anything like that, and now that the Spectres are coming with the gate stuff in them, the ASR, the Edge are coming with Asters, which are...
I mean, it is a bit bonkers when you think about it.
Because isn't the Aster like... Is that between the Warfare and the Titan, maybe?
The Aster's... No, it's below.
It's below the
Warfare.
Below
the Aster. Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, the Aster is between the Warfare
and then the AXR is purely like what's in the Crytek. Purely to... so you... Again, for people that aren't tech-orientated... The core series now have that MOSFET again to protect the battery and bits like that. You start and some of the Edge have it, and then you go all the way into the Edge 2.0 that have the Aster, which is like that's an amazing MOSFET in standard.
Because if you just want that trigger and you're not bothered about all the faffing about the messing about setting up your I think has it got pre-cock in that one?
I don't think they have.
I don't think it does, off the top of my head. Yeah. But it just gives you that good. You can sort out your trigger and you can sort out your rate of fire and all that sort of thing with it. And people go to you, I just want a good trigger response.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you need.
So I mean, obviously I usually answer all the comments and questions on Instagram when it comes through, and a lot of it is new players, and I've been there. Everyone's been there. Is when you start out, there is an astronomical amount of information and choice out there, and everyone's got that. There is a limit. There's this 350 limit. There are MOSFETs. There's 1,000 different BBs. And what we get a lot is, I'm looking to buy this. How can I improve it? So do you then just say, buy the Spectre with the MOSFETs pre-fitted, or are you looking at maybe a Cymer and a MOSFET? My normal answer is, find something you like the look of, game with it a few times, and then see what you want to improve. There's a lot of this chasing the 350 and everything like that. So if someone's starting out now, from your experience of what's inside most brands, are you wanting to buy something, improve it, or do you just go for that Spectre that's already got the features?
Well, first of all, with any gun, choose something you like.
Yeah, you've got to like the look of it.
Don't care what anyone says. Again, you've got to go for that M4.
The Evo, I could tell people the Evo is, but I wouldn't buy one because I don't like the look of it.
Yeah, go for something you like.
You've got to like it.
End of the day, you're the person playing with it. Yeah. You know, people do these days. They do with the role. You know, dress up with the roles. They want to be, someone of Call of Duty or this or a copy proper kit, and they. They do their own loadouts.
Yeah.
Go for what you like, what you want to play with, and then from that point forward, then if you're not happy with how it performs, have a look at it and say, well, where would I like it to be better?
Yeah.
I mean, most things, if you're not happy with range and things like that, don't go chasing the myth of FPS.
Yeah.
Because that is not your range.
It's exponential, isn't
it? That's how fast it gets there.
Yeah.
That's not your range. The example of it, if we go back to Tokyo Marui, their guns come out at 270.
270 if you're lucky.
If you're lucky. And they outrange most guns on the field.
Out the box.
Box.
That 350 FPS is physically how fast that BB is travelling, not how far it's going to go.
Yeah.
So what do you need to look at to increase range? Like, is it hop, barrel?
Yeah, I mean a good hop rubber will be fine, and a barrel. I mean, first off, for anyone, if you feel you want to improve your range, just change your hop rubber. And clean your barrel.
Yeah.
Because most barrels that come straight from manufacturer, you'll find when you do clean it, they're fuller. From when they've milled the barrel, there can be little bits of metal left in there, dirt, all sorts of things. Give it a good clean, and even that before you put hopper on, that can improve the performance of the rifle straight away. It's such an easy thing to do that many people don't do either. Like after they go skirmishing.
I'm guilty of not cleaning my barrel.
They go skirmishing for a weekend, and then they go, "Oh, my gun's not shooting as well as it did last week." Well, where did you play? Oh, well, we were in woods, and it were, and it was,
I dug a few
holes with it, and I'm wondering why it's not shooting the same. But and we get that. But yeah, if you really wanted to, a basic thing to change would be your hop rubber. If you want to go a little bit further, your barrel.
And are you then advising on BB weight? Because obviously a standard AEG, we always say, obviously twos are cheap. And they do work. It's not because it's light, it's rubbish or anything like that. There's all that snake oil of you've got to run this weight. Try different ones. For example, myself, I used to run 4s in the PTW purely because it would lift them and it functioned. Last weekend or weekend before, I've dropped down to 3 2s. I've fettled my hop, cleaned the barrel, and it's just that combo has been better.
Yeah, because obviously going the higher weight, your BB's going to slow down. It's going to take longer to get where it is. The person you're shooting at's going to move.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I'm a .28.
Yeah.
I think
2.8s have always been
2.8s are just like a bit. I think I feel that sweet spot.
Yeah. Of range and speed.
Yes, you go heavy. You'll probably push a little bit further, but then you're putting a lot more. There's a lot more stresses and things to deal with. Yeah. But the hop rubber will. Train of thought's gone now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So lift it. So it's going from 2s to 2.8s. Yeah. A standard sort of AEG and stuff like that, going anywhere from a 608 barrel and what's normally a 50-degree hop. So again, if we want to look at
60,
if we're looking at hop rubbers in particular, for those that don't know, the degrees of a hop rubber. Someone's looking at and I want to change my hop rubber. That's the first point of call. What does it all mean? You've got, again, you look at hop rubbers now compared to a few years ago. You could fill an entire wall with them. You've got different brands. You've got different shapes of nub inside or anything like that. Is it all essential, or is it literally change it to a 60 and use a heavier weight BB?
You could, to be honest, I've run on 50 degree up to 60, 70 and put the same weight through. I've done lots of testing with this to see what's the best. What I find the most, the heavier the BB, obviously it needs more lift, needs something to push it up.
Yeah.
So I've actually found that the nub has been more of a factor.
Is that the shape? Is that the shape of the bit inside? Or
that's the shape of the little bit. So you get your bucking that you slide on your barrel, and then it always comes with a little nub.
Yeah.
Then that's what pushes up into the rubber, and that's what's creating the hump for it to give you the backspin.
And sometimes you have, like, say, triangle shapes. You get a split.
You get shields. There's all sorts of different things.
Do they actually change? Sort of how much it spins? Are they more friction? Are they more adjustable?
And centering as well. Yeah. I mean, I've been experimenting recently with the Maple Leaf, the Omega nub. Yeah. And this one's like a horseshoe shape that comes down, and I'm using that with a Prometheus purple hop rubber, and on our range it is hitting. I mean, I'd say our range is 70 metres and there's a banking behind it.
Yeah, it stops dead.
It stops dead in the banking.
And I think there's a plate. What's that? Is it an A4 plate at the far end?
Yeah. and it's hitting into the back.
Yeah.
So we're going, I'd say 73 metres, and it looks like it can still go.
Yeah.
And
especially with AGs and stuff like that, and most players that are running, say, a dot sight, maybe a 2 to 3 times magnifier with a flip to side, you're not seeing beyond that.
No, you're not.
You're not seeing a BB beyond that.
No,
so
you're not.
if you're
that range,
if you're consistent and accurate at that range,
I mean, that's over what you need to be.
Yeah.
Really, 50 metres maybe.
Yeah.
You're
not seeing a BB travel further than that.
You're not.
It's not massively essential. I mean, we always get, how do I increase range? Or if we're doing a review or a product review on the daily live streams, we'll have something here, and someone always wants to know FPS, rate of fire, and range. And that is the one thing we can't give an accurate thing, because each rifle, even if it's the same one, has a slightly different FPS. It depends what weight BB you're using. It depends how you've got your hop set. If you're running a 2.8 at a half hop or a 2 at no hop, it's all going to be astronomically different. So for us to test every gun that we have as a range, we have to set parameters, but then when you get it, it's going to be different.
Yeah, I mean, all we can do here at Patrol Base is we take a set of guns, we can give an average.
Yeah. Again, the time that would take just for each one would be astronomical. Yeah. But we can advise on how to get more range out of something, not what range it's going to have.
Yeah.
And again, that is always, don't chase that 350.
No, never.
It's air seal and hop.
Air seal
and hop.
So air seal. The other way, once you move back from your barrel and your hop unit, you're going to move back into where your piston and your cylinder is. So with your air seal, it's running from your piston head, your cylinder head, air nozzle, and then into your hop unit.
Yeah.
So if you want that consistency, you want the FPS to be the same all the time, you want to have the same flight all the time with the BB. That's where you need to be looking.
Yeah.
This saying I need to change my gear. I'm doing this. I need to change my gears because I'm changing my piston or whatever.
Do you feel that when people look at stuff like that and it ends up being chasing the sort of link? So once they change, everyone sort of gets a platform and they upgrade a bit. Are they just pushing the weakest link further down the line?
Yeah.
So yes, you've changed that.
You've changed that, but have you checked
everything?
Checked everything?
Yeah.
So it's basically a case of just if you're in that way inclined, technically inclined, or you just want to have a go.
I know a few people that have bought boneyards just to learn how to do it,
learn.
And it's a great thing to do.
That's where you need to be. That's where you
get
need
something
to be
that isn't what you're going to run at the weekend. Something that you can take apart and go, oh, that's what a gearbox looks like.
I mean, when I first opened a gearbox, I'll be honest, it was dark. I'm like trying to hold it together. I mean, we did, when we first started, we didn't have quick change springs. This is like a gift from the gods, isn't it? With it all.
I think an ICS split gearbox was probably
the closest
thing you could do without having everything fall apart on you.
When you're trying to get that spring guide in and you're holding that in and trying to get gearbox casing on.
Or the anti-reverse latch would just fall off as you were putting it back together.
Nightmares coming back. But that's where you need to be looking. That's where you need to be practicing. That's what you need to be looking at.
And do you see it as two completely separate units when it comes to hop rubber, barrel assembly, and gearbox, or is it something that you have to have them? Obviously, the air nozzle length and stuff like that is a big feature.
Yeah, I mean,
but do you
piece of advice I would give to people that are listening: if you don't have to change your loading nozzle, don't change it.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to keep it with the same hop unit that comes with the gun, if you start doing that, you start opening all sorts of corners where your nozzle might not be long enough and sealed properly in your hop unit. And this can open. And again, that's the air seal thing that is.
The better your air seal is.
The more consistency you're going to get.
You're going to have consistency. Yeah. So again, ignoring that, chasing that 350 again, we can iterate that as many times as we want. Everyone tries something alternate with 310, 320. Oh, but my mate's is firing 340. Yes, that just means his BB is travelling faster. It's not going to go faster.
But what I'd say to them people with the friend, I tell you what, set a target up and see who shoots further. That's what I'd go for.
Yeah. Well, we tried doing that. We did the one-shot challenge at Proving Grounds that time. Yeah. So, and this wasn't. It was going to be a prize opportunity, and we had a target 20 metres out.
Yes, it was.
And it was one of the very, very small FMA metal targets. And then we had a second one that was 45 metres out. And you had to single shot the first one. If you hit that, you're allowed to shoot the second one. And then a lot of people would hit that first one quite accurately. And then they go for the second one and go, what, that's 40 metres? Yeah, that's 40 metres. That's not an airsoft 40 metres. Yes. That's a real 40 metres.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, judging distance and stuff like that, it's a very difficult thing to do with dead ground and stuff like that. So if you ever get a chance to have a play with like the Vortex rangefinder, and I do think that's a great upgrade for snipers.
That's what we use to just to get a range. We got the accurate range from where we stood to that point, and then now we know exactly where we're hitting when when we test customers' guns when they come back. We make sure that they are. We set the hops and make sure they are firing as far as
you've got that post-workshop check sheet.
Yeah.
You want to be as accurate with all your information. So we've done this, we've tested it, and we've even rangefinder.
We've already got the targets set up at the ranges, but we will put down in as notes. We have set this up on this BB with this battery, so you have all the same setup, and you can then, if you wish to do the same setup, you will get this particular range.
Yeah. I'll just a couple more questions before going on a bit of a break because we're nearly 40 minutes in. So obviously you're saying working on people's guns and stuff like that. That's our warranty stuff.
Yes, it is warranty.
So obviously a while ago we did a lot of custom builds. We'd get people's bits in to change barrels and do things that they want. What has stopped that? And I've been down there and I've seen the pile of two-tones and warranty and stuff like that.
There's a couple of points on that one. One is workload.
Yeah.
Because our two-tones they're phenomenal. And the amount of people getting into the sport at the moment, it's crazy.
Is it creeping into the mainstream almost? And
it must be. It must be. We are 4 lads constantly, 6 days a week, taking guns apart, painting them, and getting them out to the players to play, and it's non-stop.
And obviously we put that 10 days on it, and we're having to use that 10 days.
We're having to use the 10 days, and
I know.
That seems weird now. I will apologise. I'm in charge of that room. And I getting them later because there's so many.
I knew a few years ago that it was super, super busy. We put the 5 to 10 days on as a cover, but they were going out in 2-3 days. But the quantity of it now is just... It has to be
we were very surprised, obviously, with the times that we're in, but it hasn't stopped the sport at all. In fact, I think it's set the fire on it.
Yeah, I know a few people that have basically used this time to have a bit of a break, come back and gone, I've missed it. I want to go out.
Really
and again, it's a fitness thing. You can get out and stuff like that. But it's very, very interesting. But we're going to have a very quick break because we're 43 minutes in already.
Yeah, cool.
Again, if anything we've covered so far, by all means, please drop questions down below. We're going to have a little break and have some adverts from our sponsors, but we will throw your questions up. We'll make a list and we'll come back and answer as many as we can. And we're also going to go on to a few pre-builds that have been done by the workshop. We've got one that Mark's done himself, which hopefully may become a product itself in the future. And one of the staff in the workshop is also an IPSC shooter and has, I can see him from here, and I'm not normally an IPC shooter, but they're very pretty. So we'll have a look at them and see what all that is. But until then, we'll have a little break, and here's what our sponsors have to say.
At Patrol Base, we believe every airsoft gun deserves a home. Even the ones that have been left battered and bruised. These guns don't need donations, they need homes. Visit our Boneyard section today, because you're not just getting an amazing deal, you're helping save an abandoned airsoft gun. At Patrol Base, we believe every airsoft gun deserves a home. Even the ones that have been left battered and bruised. These guns don't need donations, they need homes. Visit our Boneyard section today, because you're not just getting an amazing deal, you're helping save an abandoned airsoft gun.
Morning, ladies and gents. I'm Stuart from Patrol Base.
I'm Pete, and this is Mike. We're from Patrol Base.
Hi, I'm Sam from Patrol Base.
This is Billy. Billy wants to buy a new airsoft gun. He seems to have his eye on the Tokyo Marui Scar L. Is that right? But Billy's seen the price. Is that a bit out of your price range, Billy? Well, not to worry, because Patrol Base has many finance options available. From interest-free finance to buy now, pay later, we can find an option right for you. In store, our staff can talk you through the options, and using our handy portal, you can fill out all the details needed. If you can't make it to our store, you can take advantage of all of our finance options online. Simply complete your basket, and in the payment options, select the finance option that best suits you. If you're having any trouble, our helpful customer service staff are just a phone call away. So what are you waiting for? Visit Patrol Base today. For full terms and conditions, please visit patrolbase.co.uk/Klarna-payments.
And welcome back. Hope you've got yourself a brew ready, and we'll be here for another 20 minutes, half an hour, hopefully. Thanks for all the questions that have been in there. There was a couple, mainly about brands and stuff like that, but a few notes. A few brands of like pistols and snipers and stuff like that. So I've touched on, like, I've played with some of the Modify snipers and the pre-built high-end stuff. So if we quickly touch on stuff like that, is if someone is wanting a super high-end pre-built, I don't want to do anything to it thing. So the Modify XTRs and the Modify sniper rifles, are they where they should?
I was quite surprised. Yeah. Quite surprised. I went into it thinking, are they worth the price tag?
Because they are.
Because they are.
Yeah. You've got to compare that to a TMVSR with all the bits.
With all the bits, or you get that.
Yes, but I've always had... so, as I used to be a mechanic for 10 years, I will not work on my own car. I got bored of it. So, do I want to buy this VSR, buy all these parts, put it all together and hope it works? Does the Modify sit in that, buy it, run it out of the box?
Yes, yeah. Buy it, run it out of the box.
Yeah. The AEG and the sniper.
The AEG, I'm very particular. I'm one of these people that I listen to everything, every sound it's making.
Yeah.
And it's as for straight out of the box, they're a good gun. Don't get me wrong. But there's just sort of sounds with the motors and things like that, which people will know as they hear one gun firing to another. This is sort of an internal. How is it shimmed and how, is it the correct motor? Is it good enough for what it does? But I suppose that's the only thing I'd probably hit on with that. I've seen all their gear systems inside the Modify. Fantastic, very, very well designed and built. With it being a watch company that's actually looked at that to build these sets for them, because they're a pre-built set in there.
Yeah, with the little cage on them.
And
it makes it a lot easier trying to balance your gears.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not, what I would say, if you're not very confident with your shimming and things like that, they are a good way to go, because you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah,
it's already done for you. You just drop them in.
Yeah,
and it's done.
It saves that heartache of bits going everywhere.
Oh. The sniper rifles, like I said, the Modify sniper rifles, brilliant. But I am a TM fanboy, unfortunately.
Yes. I'm a PTW fanboy, and my wallet doesn't like me for it. So.
The G spec is my favourite.
It's nice, yeah.
Oh, this is the one for me.
And again, obviously, we touched on the TM before. If you get that VSR out of the box, and obviously because VSR's been around for so long, there is incredible array of aftermarket parts. Is there a brand that you would look at for them parts, or is it a pick from each area for the best one? Or again, is it
generally
what do you need it to do?
It's generally what you need it to do. If you buy Marui, a lot of people take the hop unit out. Please don't.
Yeah.
You can change your hop rubber.
Yeah.
What have you bought it for?
Yeah.
Change the hop rubber. Don't
leave the unit.
Leave the unit. Don't mess with the unit. The PDI kits and things, really good to go in there. The problem is, I would say, if you do want to go down the Marui route, is you are going to have to deal with all of it.
Yes, it's not a case of
it's
I
not
can do that, then that.
You're going
to push that.
You're
going
to have to.
You
have to look at
the
you have to look at a trigger. You have to look at your cylinder, piston.
And it's not even a case of buying it and upping the spring.
No.
Because as soon as you do that, you might
unfortunately I would say, unless you are very sort of tech savvy or you have it done somewhere, the TM cylinders are pinned, so they do need drilling to take them apart, and that's where it goes. Because we actually we generally, when we did do work, we refused to do it, or we had the customers had to sign something to say
we are going to
do this to it, and it may damage it.
Yeah.
So
which is sensible.
Well, that's from our point of view, it is sensible. But
so as we said before the break, we are going to look at a few pre-builds that it is actually your personal.
This one is, yes.
Yeah, so if you want to grab that up. So this is your personal one, but this is obviously also a workshop project that is potentially
I'm praying, I'm hoping. I've put some time and effort in, guys.
Going to be a product in itself.
Yes.
If we can get the numbers to work and everything like that.
If we can get it all to work, yes.
But what is it? What have you done to it? Is there anything you would have done differently? But yeah.
To be honest, it's pushed to the limit. This is one of the Crytek Rec 7s.
Yeah. Got the Barrett one.
The Barrett one, yes, in the tungsten. I will start internally because that's obviously where we've gone with it.
Yeah.
Internally, we have kept the same gears, but we have short stroked 4.11.1 ready now.
Yeah.
They've all been reshimmed, and the Prometheus parts have been used for the barrel shims on it, because one of the gears actually in here it has a pre-shim spring on them. This is in all Cryteks, and this is why they always sound a little noisy.
Yeah.
It's because it's not a tight shim there. Right. We've done that. We've got put a full metal rack piston in now, and I've also been experimenting with the Max model parts in here. So we've got a Max model piston head, cylinder head, and cylinder.
But the gearbox shell's the same.
The gearbox shell is the same.
And does that
because it's already on certain things you would do with sort of high performances. Where the cylinder is, they've already been radialed.
Yeah.
They've all that's already been done to prevent stresses and.
Because I know in my
snapping
build that I had, they ended up getting retro arms put in it.
Yeah.
Did the Crytek gearbox sit in the same?
Yeah, the same quality bracket. Yeah.
And when you started, you mentioned short stroking. So again, for people that don't know, can you obviously this is to do with our power limits and UK power limits and things like pre-engagement and damage. So
because of the UK, we are a lower power limit than EU and everywhere else. We have to because the piston won't return fast enough with
the power of the spring. The piston doesn't go forward fast enough.
Yeah, it doesn't return it to battery fast enough due to our power limits. Yeah. So we end up having to take teeth off the gears to allow for this, so it doesn't catch up and then.
So if you imagine a piston going forward, if you have a really powerful spring, it'll do it really fast. Our springs, it does it a bit slower, which gives the gear time to come back round before the piston's forward, causing to hit the wrong place and either the piston fails or the gears fail.
Can cause further damage, because when they do go, they can go
in a big way. So if people have heard the term short stroking, especially with Evos and anyone wanting to run 11.1, because everyone, again, 11.1 is better than 7.4 apparently. It's not, it's just different.
It gives us snappier.
It's snappier and the rate of fire and stuff.
But if you're not a rate of fire guy and you're happy just blinking away at 7.4, don't worry yourself.
I mean, I've always said that everyone says, rate of fire, that it should be capped and everything, but I've always said that a rate of fire is a byproduct of trying to chase a good trigger response.
It is, yeah.
So yes, you could have a gun that does 40 RPS, but you've not built it for that. You've built it for that trigger response. Well,
this one's doing 30.
Yeah,
and it's not. I don't play full auto.
Yeah,
at all.
It's
really.
A byproduct of getting
me a snappy trigger,
snap trigger, and keep up with say HPA and gas. Yeah, which is going to be very, very difficult because again, looking internally at gas and AEGs. At gas and HPA versus AEG, and an AEG has to deliver power to a motor, turn, and do everything. Yes, it's happening at the speed of light, but all them processes happen, whereas HPA is instant. It's down the barrel straight away.
Well, that's where we've put the Titan in.
Yeah.
So back to your HPA, back to your gas. You're getting that pre-cocking
element.
You
get the pre-cocking system, so that again, it's faster. You're getting that. Game-changing
and the response
of what
and
you're
to up that further, I've Max model trigger. So this is a tunable trigger. So when you actually pull this trigger, it's set all the way back. It's like playing.
It's just a very, very small.
Very small.
It's a button rather than a trigger.
Rather than a trigger now.
Yeah.
One of the other things I started off when I started doing this, I put in one of the ASG 30K motors. I ran that for about 100,000 rounds with this running at motor braking, pre-cocking, the full limit of what it can do. And I found that at 100,000 rounds, that was the end of my brushes.
They're just gone.
Gone.
Yeah.
That was it. Well, they're not gone. They have a certain setting which they go to.
It's a lot of rounds, though.
100,000 rounds. It's a lot of rounds.
The way he said that, it's like, I've done 100,000 rounds. That's a lot of rounds.
That is a lot of rounds, guys.
These are running out quickly.
Yeah, they're not running out quickly. But
that was in one game.
I just have to do this to see the limits of what this product can do. So
that if it becomes a product, we can tell you exactly.
So I've gone from that now.
Yeah.
And now I've got one of the Warhead Industries brushless motors in this now. So these guys, no brushes. Don't have to worry about that problem anymore. Still going at the
Is there a pro and con of brushless?
Pro and con, brushless. Brush is going to last longer. Internal, there's not as many friction parts inside your motor because it's all run computerized on the bottom of it. Dirt and things like that. Because obviously, when these contacts are going inside, there's just spinning off carbon off your brushes and filling up the inside of this gear. When I started taking it out to strip it down to have a look, I find I'm getting dust everywhere with it all. Sound. That there's none of the rubbing sound. It's just instant now. It's just a nice instant trigger. And the other thing was the motor itself. Let me get back to my train of thought. It always disappears.
Is it a delivery of power?
Yeah, the delivery of power's
slightly different.
You've
as obviously it's almost got its own inbuilt MOSFET of thing. So that active braking is it inbuilt? Or
well, the Titan's doing
all that,
but this can handle it.
This can handle it as well.
It's a lot better. Yeah.
Because it's obviously dedicated to a single job rather than the Titan that's trying to do everything.
And
like there's
it's
an
more
EPM
reactive.
in there.
That's the one I'm going for. Yeah. It's more reactive as well. It's instead of that wind up with a normal motor. When you pull that trigger, the motor still has a wind up.
It's got to add the power.
It's got to add the power. This is just it's like solid instant turn. I've been massively. I've talked to the guys at Warhead, and I'm massively impressed with
and again, it's 100,000 rounds. I can't iterate. That is a lot.
That is a lot of rounds, guys.
Motor is still very, very good.
Yeah,
but this is going to last. A million rounds. You could never ever test.
I'm still testing.
Yeah,
that's all I can say, guys. I'm still testing on that.
Yeah.
From there, then I've got a Pro in hop unit.
Yeah.
In it. The
old classic.
Classic.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I mean, I was swapping between doing the Max and the Pro, and they slightly do different things.
Yeah.
But I found that the Pro was more consistent. The Max, it gave me a little bit more range. We're not talking lots, but it gave me that little bit more range. But I found that the Pro was the more air seal consistent unit. So I'm running that with a Prometheus Purple, which is a purple hop rubber, and a Maple Leaf Omega nub in there.
And that's again another test piece.
Test piece that I'm testing, and I found that I was using Prometheus Purple hop rubber with everyone know the Mad Bull hop rubbers that Patrol Base sell. Like a blue. The blue
red ones.
The blue, but they come with quite a nice nub.
Yeah.
So what I was doing is I was picking and choosing to find which parts work the best.
And again, this is something I've said on previous live streams, and when me and Pete had a little bit of a chat, is do not be afraid of changing your equipment. Yeah. A lot of people will get something and go, I like it, I want to, and they'll keep running through it, and they'll go, don't be afraid to experiment. Yes, you're in a game and it might not work, but if you don't experiment, you're not going to find that best.
You're not going to know.
Part.
I mean, there's things always coming out, so I'm always looking to find that part that's going to just push that a little bit further, push that performance a little bit further. Then we've got a Prometheus barrel, which is a 6.03 barrel in there. Yeah. It's because they're so well machined and milled that they're just a lovely shoot. They shoot very, very well. I mean, from that, when you look at it, that's pretty much the gubbins we've been talking.
Externally, it's just personal choice.
It's personal choice, but I mean, we've got the PTS Raiden
AG version. Again, it looks pretty, so we're gonna put pretty bits.
Yeah, we're gonna put pretty bits on it.
We've optic suppressors, grips.
The Vortex optic. These are just the standard grips
that come on the Barrett.
That come on because they're all crisp branded. So I mean, and they're a nice feel.
And you were saying at the start, obviously that thing, yes, it's capable of 30 rounds a second. You're doing that because of the trigger response, the EPM keeping up.
Yeah. Not a problem.
Yeah. You didn't have to do any of this filling, emptying.
No. I'll be honest. There might be one or two out there that this has happened to. Yeah. But what it's actually come down to, which I've seen, is the actual gas marker that runs up and down. that is slightly tight.
Right.
And that's what's causing people the problem. It's just not sliding.
Yeah.
Sliding.
So it
But
is working, but it
working.
almost like doesn't start moving until the mag's half
Yeah,
empty.
it suddenly jumps like that.
Yeah.
But after you've filled it a few times, that runs smooth.
Yeah. So fill it, empty it, fill it, empty it. And
But yeah, I mean, with these, I've put them straight in, and it empties all of them
Straight
to the
down.
end. To the end. Yeah, we've got the PTS Griffin suppressor on the front.
Is that, yeah, we did the PTS thing yesterday. There's the new
There's the new one.
birdcage style one.
This is the older version.
Yeah.
They don't do these ones anymore. This is just from my own personal
Yeah.
kit. And
Again, it's external. So again,
Yeah.
if we ever did this as a product, it would be blank, and you would put
Put what you
optic
want
on
on
it. You could
yeah.
put a magnifier or anything on it. It's not.
Yeah, this is
sort
my
of
own
thing.
personal
Yeah.
choice and setup with the with the Magpul CTR on the back. I also, I mean, for just a bit of Gucci, make it look a bit different from everybody else on the field. I've had some bits Cerakoted.
So the blue Cerakoted, it's not anodized.
Northern
it's actually-
Lights, everyone. Northern Lights. That's
Yeah.
what I keep telling.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the blue. I don't know if it shines and everyone can see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just something.
It's
for
like
me.
that nice blue Cerakote.
Yeah.
It's quite nice.
Yeah.
It matches that titanium really nice.
Yeah,
doesn't
it does. Yeah.
So with what you've done in that, the consensus or the idea around that is that's the internal parts that could be translated to any
Well, this
platform.
this particular build, basically any Crytek this platform can go through. I've also put together for Crytek, for KWA, for the Quaff variants, and then the other one I'm looking at is actually doing the Evo.
Yeah.
But for yourself, I know you don't like the sort of the aesthetic of it.
Yeah, that's it.
Your
It's
personal
an
thing.
amazing platform,
But this is
but
something else I'm looking at.
It's a
is
cult
when I do
platform.
really when we do, I'm looking at putting new handguards on the front. I'm just looking at really Gucciing them out.
Yeah,
So
get the Zev stock on it, get the HP
yeah,
handguards that we used to
on it,
have.
Yeah, long handguards on it, and and really do them out. So when you actually get this product, you will just be you'll be really happy with it.
Yeah.
And we've been looking at doing it as a full package, so it comes with mags, it'll come in a case.
Yeah.
We've even had on the drawing board thinking, right, do we even do, because I'm that confident with what I've done, do we even do a 2-year warranty on them?
Yeah.
I mean,
Warranty, a logbook,
all this kind of thing. So you can buy this product and you can then be happy and go away and play, and you can bring it back, and it's covered. And we will deal with it for you. But
I mean, I've seen it in the field, and it looks a lot of
obviously that's in the future. But fingers crossed for me, because I've put a lot into it.
Yeah.
But
I've seen it in the field, and it does look a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But if you were to start that again, are you, like, all the parts that you've put in it, you're obviously confident and happy with them?
Yes.
You wouldn't. There's no other parts that you'd think, oh, if I'd have tried that early on. So, does your experimental process ever end?
I've seen some new piston heads, which are new silent ones that I've seen going that have a middle section that compresses to slow, comes down, but that'd be more for DMR builds and things like that. But yeah, if something came out and it pipped that piston head,
we'd swap it out.
I'd swap it out. It's a constantly evolving product, because I always, as an airsoft fan, I was a customer. Well, I was that beginner once. You always want to. I would always want to have the best offered to me.
Yes.
And
again, this is what that is. It's not a case of doing, for example, like a bronze, silver, and a platinum version of it. No. You're wanting to have this package at a level that you would want to field it. Yeah. It's not a case of here's a really good one, here's a better one, and here is the best. No, that is something that you've put together, you've tested it, and you go, I want to run this.
And it works. Yeah. This is the thing, it works. That's what I want to say. It's not this, well, we'll take this bit out, but then, as we've discussed earlier on, you start taking bits out, doing certain bits, and things don't mesh together correctly, things don't work properly. So all these things are designed, they've been tried and tested together, and they work as they should. Yeah.
So obviously that's yours.
Yeah.
Hopefully it will come to fruition at some point.
Yep.
So now is something that truly terrifies me when it comes to spending in Airsoft. So one of our other techs in the workshop is an IPSC shooter, which is the practical. Started off as practical pistol, but they obviously do like 3-gun. So they work with shotguns, M4s, and all that kind of stuff. But it's basically Airsoft time trial. Is the best way to describe it if you don't know what it is. But it's not just about how fast you can do it; it's accuracy and everything.
Yeah.
And the money behind these is silly.
Yeah.
He is obviously he's an exceptional builder.
He is an exceptional.
But I mean,
fantastic.
They look pretty, but they don't look like something you'd skirmish with.
He does.
I know he does, but you're not. These aren't. I mean, obviously people do. I've seen Marcus do it. I've seen these guys do it, and they run them on the hip and they're fine because they understand what they could do and they trust them. But these things are designed to be exceptionally accurate, exceptionally fast for pistols in drawing, aiming, cycling, and obviously to hit that what they call the double alpha. So those that don't know, you have a target, the center is alpha, and then you get Bravo and you get Charlie. Yeah. The R&D and the putting these things together is to get that super fast, super consistent, but there is probably 4 figures in each one of them. Yeah,
I mean, when Jake, he actually when I asked him, I were a bit. I didn't know if he'd
I don't want to touch him.
Yeah. I didn't know if he'd actually turn up with them today in his lovely hard case all set out.
The personal build came in a carrier bag almost, and the two pistols and sidearms came in a very hard case, locked, digital codes, everything.
Yeah, you're looking at nearly £2,000 there, and this is because he is a massive enthusiast with it.
But again, that's if you like it.
This is what his
don't be deviated into what other people are doing. If you like the idea of a style of airsoft, go for it.
Go for it. That's what it's all about.
It's all about the freedom. Just because you've gone that way, again, you're saying he skirmishes with them. It doesn't stop him doing it.
No,
he can totally stick that on his hip. Yes, it's a lot of money, but he wants to run around with it. That's how he wants to play.
That's him.
It's great.
That's him.
And obviously he understands how he puts them together. He builds them. He knows that it's going to perform exactly as he wants.
Yeah.
And
we've fine-tuned them.
We've even had having someone with that kind of expertise in the workshop is great. For example, when we get the SRU kits in, putting one of them together. One of the lads was like, I don't know how to do this. And he spent maybe 20 minutes trying to put this leaf spring in this bit. And he took it down the workshop. And the guy who puts these together, because they are high kappa style, he went, oh, you just do this. And it fell together.
Yeah, well, I just went, he walked in and I said, the kappa guru's over there. Yeah. And it's
and it literally fell together.
And it just fell together. It just fell together in his hands. And
again, that's tech experience, knowing how certain bits go together. And I've always put that down to you can be a fan and an enthusiast in some way. And I always do an analogy of cars with airsoft. When it's the amount of manufacturers there's probably the same amount of manufacturers in airsoft that make cars and parts and everything like that. But you also have people that are car enthusiasts and know a lot about enthusiasts, but don't know enough to go inside them. Yes, you can really like cars, you can do external bits and clean it and service it and this and the other. You still wouldn't take the top of your engine off.
No, not
and again, you'd give that to someone who is extremely well versed in how these things are put together, and that's how you're going to get the best build and stuff like that. So there's a lot of notes on the table because I don't know anything about these. And
to be honest, I'm going to be honest to everyone. He has been teaching me.
Yes. And that's what Airsoft is every day.
I mean, I've got these notes. I've got what's in them in front of me, but I don't really want to drone on with it. I brought it with me
just to
sort of look at, just in case.
Yeah.
But the idea of what's going to happen here is we are with Jake. I am looking to doing our own patrol base section of high cappers.
And in a same sense as the M4?
Yeah, in the same sense.
But hopefully not the same price.
Well, this is not as much as that, no.
Because, I mean, that one on the left, that red one.
That one there's...
I mean, even the optic on top of it's enough. But, yeah,
I only asked one price, and I know this one's 800.
Yeah.
And they said it's about 12. So yeah, about 12.
So and again, there's nothing wrong with spending that.
If you love it, if that's your passion, it's all about passion. You like with any hobby, you put as much in or as little as you like. Yeah. You can be involved as much as you want or as little as you like.
Yeah. And he's just put everything into that, and now he knows these things like the back of his hand.
I mean, I've got 2 of them here, and I know he sent me a picture last night of which ones to choose from.
And it's a big
list. And there was about 12.
Yeah.
And I just saw, and juddered. But so going back to it, what I am working on with Jake is that we will be able to offer some cool high capper builds for you, pre-done, pre-tuned. And they'd be offered in the same instance as the gun would be. You would come in a case, you will get a logbook, you will get your warranty on it and your servicing. Mm-hmm. And that's basically where we're looking at to go with that. Mm-hmm.
And again, this like high cappers, for those that are new and haven't seen or don't know what a high capper is and what practical shooting is, you could put high cappers next to M4 and the list would be the same length when it comes to variants, different receivers, different slides, different muzzle brakes, different optics.
I mean, when I started,
even the thumb rest on the side.
Yeah, when I started talking to Jake with it, I mean, I'll be very honest, because it's something I never delved into with it. And since I met Jake, this is when I've sort of started delving into. He's been teaching me all the different bits. But he's like, at the moment, there's a special competition that you can go into, what he's looking to do, and your gun has to fit in a box this size.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want to it. If it fits
but it has to fit in this box.
Yeah.
So he's having to mill the shapes of the front of the
so
gun, so it fits in this box.
The optics are on a side.
Oh god, it's mental. Yeah.
But again, this all came from the ban on real stuff in the UK many years ago. They obviously all handed all their stuff in, and it wasn't allowed anymore. But they still wanted to follow that hobby. So they all went into the airsoft market, got the pistols from that, and carried on doing it. But there has now been this meld of, yes, I am doing that, but I can still do the skirmishing.
Yeah, you can still do the skirmishing with it.
Yeah. So you can kind of have both sides. And again, I've seen it happen both ways. I've seen people go from that IPSC side and start skirmishing and still do it, and I've seen people go from skirmishing. It depends how you discover the sport. And then you discover the sport, you realise how many different branches are to it, and you'll find yourself go down a certain route. And allow yourself to go down that route. Don't be shepherded, you should skirmish, or don't speed soft, or you should do this. Do what you want. Do what you want. If you're having fun, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, that's all that matters.
And again, teching, if you enjoy getting inside an AEG and sussing it out, get yourself a boneyard, open it up, and don't be worried about breaking something. If something breaks, you're going to learn something.
Yeah, I mean, this is how I work. I mean, I know it's coming from someone who works on them all the time, but I go to a game day. If it breaks, it breaks. Yeah. I mean, when I first started playing, your gun was guaranteed to break every game day. You had to take 2 or 3 to make sure you could get to end of day.
Yeah, I mean, and now getting through 3 or 4 game days and it breaking, I want a new one.
I want a new one now.
No.
It's like,
open it up, learn a little bit about it,
yeah,
and understand that they are toys at the end of the day. They are very expensive toys, but they are still toys.
But they are, and you look at that part, improve that part, and then move on.
I've always had that mindset of, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yes, that's one thing. We do get a lot of people, and I mean,
they've not even put a battery in it, and they want to put stuff in it.
They've taken it apart. I mean, I have to do one instance that a customer got a gun from us. It had been two-toned, and we did apologise that we didn't attach the trigger bar properly. And it was our fault. And accidents happen.
Yeah. When there's that many going out.
When there's that many going out,
happen.
and we try as best to we test them all before they go. We give them a fire in the workshop to make sure they're cycling and things like that. Same with gas guns, we make sure they're cycling and gas tight. But this customer took upon himself, he had bought a Tavor, and he rung up and said, I think this is a bit past my expertise. And it came back in a carrier bag as a Meccano set. And I mean, we were very sympathetic with the person. We said, look, don't worry. We know you've had. We took it back off him. We sorted it out, got it all working for him, and got him back to him. But if he'd have just given us a call
and just tell you what,
and just gone, we could have gone. We'll get it back. We'll send someone out. We'll get it back. We'll sort it for you. We'll get it out, and we're sorry for it. But yeah, I mean, anyone buying a gun from us, and you do have any issues at all, please get in touch. We've got some really helpful customer service members and our returns department.
So when it comes to advice like that, obviously we have got the customer service department that have an astronomical amount of knowledge, but obviously there may become a point when it's a little bit too deep.
If it's too deep,
can they? Obviously, people can call customer services and be passed to you. And you're happy to either email or.
I will generally, because of volume, because of workloads we have, I'll tend to email people back. So what we generally say, if you have got something technical to ask or parts you want to try and get hold of that are very hard to get hold of, things like that, just send an email to our customer service team. That gets forwarded to the workshop, and then I go through them. We do get a lot, and I try my best to try and reply to you in the first. I'd love to do it instant. I'd love to be there going straight on hand. Yeah. That's it. Right. Look, you've got it. You're going to get it today. It's usually in a couple of days because.
And again, parts in airsoft with it being.
This is one
with
thing.
With it being outside of the UK, constructed and stuff like that, parts can take a long time to source.
We can get parts. Most parts we can source. We can get for you. But you. Not with the times that we're in as well, which doesn't help. We do get them. You could be waiting up to a month, up to 5, depending on which manufacturer or where we need to try and source this for you from. But be assured, though, we do try as utmost best to get you what you need.
And with most manufacturers as well, if you can't get it from manufacturer, there is usually a third party.
There's usually a third party option
to try and get it, but that is usually a second one because want if you've got a G&G, you want G&G parts in it, or if that is then completely out of the question, there's no third party parts, you can then look at there aren't any third party parts, but you could then look at all the different brands of internal parts and just change it. They are going to then cost a bit. But it's either a little bit of expense for a working gun or a dead platform. But so that's the pre-builds and your pre-builds. That's a little bit on the future of the workshop. There's no other ideas, anything else that you'd want to do? Obviously, you touched on different platforms, the AEG.
I mean, I'd like I say, snipers, things like that. We'd love to move into that, but I think the first thing I'd like to do is getting back into this with the technical things. I mean, as we touched on before we had the break, the workload has gone up astronomically for us, and that's dealing with obviously we do the two-tones, we do the warranty work, and we try as best to get all this and then even like dealing with customers one-to-one on emails to try and get the best parts and things that they need. It got to a point where we couldn't fulfill promises. A promise is something I don't like breaking, to be honest, and as a company we don't. We want to provide the best service for you all the time. So with that, we ended up having to just go, right, we physically can't look at this.
It's now the two-tone and a warranty only. Thing. Like a custom build it's a very personal and conversational discussion. So there is a lot of man-hour in just the prep. Never mind opening it up, putting it together, testing, getting it to you.
And one of the other just the little issues as well were, obviously we touched on only certain parts work together. We'd have people asking, can you fit just this? Can you fit just that? And then we're disappointing people saying, look, well, we can't do that for you because that won't work. So with that, we had to just sort of take a step back and do a full, basically, we'll put it down to a full reset of the workshop, how we work, how we're gonna proceed forward with this, and how we can provide the best service for our customers.
We've not touched a little bit on GBBs, and I know there is a lot of GBB fans out there. Obviously, very experienced with AGs, and the high capper is a gas, but it is very, very different. Gas, the MWS, the KWA, all them kind of bits. Do you think that they are more complicated, less complicated, are easier to work on, or is it more of
I'd say there's less to work on.
Yes.
There's less parts, things like that. But what I would say is, you're not with a gas, unless you're running sort of a HPA setup. Don't be discouraged if it does gas out or does get cold, because we are in England and things like that.
But I mean, the technology. I mean, you look at the MWS now, and that will run throughout winter and be really, really popular. It's more of just be aware that a gas weapon is going to break. It's not an if or a when. It is a when, and it is far more on that spectrum of close to the real
thing. Because you are getting the wear and tear.
You need to, not really a tech side of it. Again, like the analogy of cars, strip it down, maintenance and all that. Just have a bit of not a bit of research or like that. Just look into it, and there is an astronomical amount of YouTube. Stuff
just
out there,
looking after seals,
cleaning your barrel, your nozzle, and anything like that. But the MWS is rapidly becoming that almost Evo style.
It is the Z engine.
The Z engine
that they're running. That is, I would say, it is the best gas platform that for this country that's going to work and
be consistent and reliable. And again, with it being TM, there is the third party mountain of
it's something like that, it's really taken off as the MWS with the Z engine. They've really, with them aftermarket parts, the bolts and all the different kits that they do for them now.
And do you see that being something that you'd touch on?
I am
maybe not working on, but do you think parts and play, and does it interest you, or it does interest round me. Limit put you off?
You see, I'm a single fireman, but for me, I've always been AG. Unfortunately, it's what I have. I have a go with a gas gun, and I mean, Jake again, he's got an MWS that. It's
because he does the 3 gun.
He does the 3 gun and that, and it's amazing. And you go outside and have a shoot with it, and you're like, oh wow, you know.
So it's almost into that. What's the word now? The simulation side of it, rather than it being a sport like football, where you've got to achieve something. You're more.
If you want to go in, you want to submerge yourself as much as, because some players do. You know, some players they go to the big events, and that there's players that are in your face. There's players that are sniping. You've got your guys that are reenacting. This is the diversity of the sport, isn't it?
Play it how you want.
But then you get these guys, like with the gas gun, they want this realism. They're not bothered that they're not hitting anyone. They don't care. They don't. I've seen these guys.
I'm like that. If I'm pulling the trigger, I'm happy.
Yeah,
and that's it.
They don't care. They're so happy just shooting this gas gun and just running around and having a good day. But I think with the MWS, that's pushing towards more of a usable platform. But I mean the PTS stuff, that's good too.
I think the PTS stuff probably kicks a little bit harder.
Yeah, that's got a harder kick on it. So more gas usage.
But recently, I took a PTS hop unit apart, and I really didn't enjoy it. There's a lot of C-clips in there that was a little bit upsetting.
A bit too much.
Oh no, one of them took a flight to the other end of the room, and I had to go find it. But and again, I've taken the MWS one apart, and I think they're both amazing products. It's just the TM had the user in mind, more than the PTS. The PTS is amazing, functions and is great, but it's built to be used.
Yeah.
And that's it. Whereas the MWS feels like they were expecting it to go into that market of being upgraded, having parts changed, CNC hops and all that.
Yeah.
But still, the ERG and the KWA kick absolutely. They kick you.
Yeah, just a bit.
So I think there's a couple more little bits that I want to just quickly touch on, mainly for advice for new players. Obviously, you mentioned about warranty and stuff like that.
Yes.
Pitfalls of a new player. You mentioned the Tavor story and stuff like that. So, main advice for a new player, getting something, going and playing with it, and it not ended up being back with us in warranty or anything like that. What can they do to learn a little bit? What are the kind of do's and don'ts? Obviously, we always advise don't just stick an 11.1 in it and run and gun.
I mean,
so how can they, especially with a new player having what is essentially maybe a cheap like a Simon or like that, how can they be a bit more savvy with their product and it not end up back with us?
I mean, the thing is, with the first and foremost, guys, the thing with the 7.4 and 11.1, all it's going to do is change. It just changes up your true response, your rate of fire. You're still going to be shooting the same FPS, but then you're just going to be putting more rounds down.
But do you think it's an astronomical extra stress?
It isn't. It is an astronomical. On a normal gun, it is, because if it hasn't got a MOSFET fitted or anything like that, you're getting arcing and things like that inside.
The motor itself is not built for it.
The motor's arcing. Your triggers are arcing. You're getting a lot more burning and a lot more wear and tear going through your gun. With that, and most guns are not set up for 11.1 straight out of the box. Unfortunately, we'd all love it to happen and that bit, but they're not. Even the Evo itself is not set up for an 11.1 straight out of the box. ASG themselves said this to me, and they recommended to use their ASG 90 spring and their bearing spring guide. Once that is in, it pushed the power up just beyond the limit where it would damage the internals, and then it worked. As for people just with changing things and getting a bit savvy on it, if you're gonna go into your gearbox yourself, you are gonna avoid your warranty. It's inevitable. That's the minute you do that, that's fine. It'll just void it, and there's time and time we have done it. We have sort of helped people. They've rung us up, how can I get it back together, on this that, and we have tried to help the best we can when people do that. But if you want to change a hop rubber, a barrel, something like that, doesn't affect the gearbox itself,
that's almost it's verging on the maintenance side. Like if you, again, going back to the car scenario, changing your oil or an air filter.
Have a learn how to do that,
because
first.
You're not opening something up. A barrel is up a receiver. It slides out. You can look at it.
It's not many parts. Generally there's just a C-clip at the front, and make sure you take your hop arm out of it before you pull the barrel out, and it's fine. So I mean, with that, you just got to be careful with how you take it apart more than anything. What I do see a lot of people do is, even one of our guys was still doing it, and once I showed him how to build it properly, he was absolutely, that's outstanding. I mean, it seems so simple to me because I do it all the time, but to the beginner, when you do get to that hop unit, make sure you take, if it's a rotary one, which is generally in all the new things now, you take off the clip at the back, the wheel, there's a little pin that goes through on an arm, you take all that out and the nub out first, and then remove your barrel out, and then when you put it back together, barrel in first, and then you can
stops the hop curling.
It stops it all curling, and your nub's in the correct place, so it's all going. So if you do all that step by step, you're going to have
it's dead easy.
It's dead easy, and you might have to do it 10, 15 times to learn how to do it. But once you get it, you'll just go, I've got that.
And again, on that scenario, if someone is having problems with an AEG or something like that, what is, say, 9 times out of 10, what are the easiest and quickest fault finding things? Because I know that the main one I see is the motor height that you have. But
motor height in factory, they just haven't set it right.
Yeah.
One of the other things as well is sometimes guns, when they're sat, they can lock up.
Yeah.
Because you got to think these have been made, they've been shipped to England, and then they've come to us, and then they've gone to you, and so they've been sat. So if they come straight off the shelf, sometimes people say, "Oh, my gun doesn't, it sounds like it's trying to turn, but it doesn't." That's because it's locked up. I mean, if you have generally an 11-1 in the house, you can plug that in, quick go. If it doesn't do anything straight away, let go. Don't. But if you just click it through once, so generally that's enough just to get that going again. We've had that, and some of the other ones there's been motor connectors.
That's especially with the older stuff or the thing, is they're either on slightly but they're not crimped.
They're not crimped,
and the actual shake of the AEG will cause a connector to drop
So what
off.
can happen is, even when you're in game, you can be firing, imagine your motor's trying to spin, it's banging around in your grip, and the connector is just slowly working its way off, and all it is a push fit.
Yeah.
And it's
always the best scenario if your AEG is doing nothing than if it's trying to do something.
Yeah, if your gun's doing nothing, that's actually better than it trying to do something.
It's either your batteries come apart, your battery connectors, or the motor connector.
It's more generally an electrical issue, not a mechanical.
And then again, fault finding. I was having a discussion with someone a couple of days ago about hops and things like that. Sort of just people being aware of that barrels can move, and that's how you get this left and right thing. And just be very, very aware that it's not the gearbox isn't. It's the heart of it, but it is not everything. Yeah, I mean, the core and the performance of your gun comes from the hop unit.
Yeah, your gearbox could be working. It could be the best gearbox in the world.
Yes,
but if your hop setup isn't correct, it just won't work.
So 9 times out of 10, just check that is all aligned. Yeah, like what you're saying, practice taking it apart,
lining up the pillow inside the rubber. And I mean, we have some Garda Clears which are perfect for that, really, because you can actually see through them, and you can see the pillow in the back of it. So when you actually slide in, you can see that you've centered it up, and you can look down the barrel, make sure it's center, and then before you put all your clips
so it goes back to that build. Once you've learnt that, if you're having dramas with accuracy, left-right swings, just ignore the gearbox part. Yeah, hop, barrel, clean it, learn how to put it together, and learn. Yeah, but well, that has been absolutely fantastic. We are well into the time right now. We hope everyone that's been watching has at least learnt something. If there's been any other questions that we've missed, please by all means drop them down below. If they are tech questions, I'll pass them on to Mark and we'll try and get a reply as quick as possible. But we hope you have enjoyed this kind of video. The concept of this is, in the future we want to get manufacturers, players, anything like that in, sit down, have a discussion, talk to you about anything airsoft, whether it be brands, manufacturers, individual products or anything like that. But we hope you've enjoyed it. We've fully enjoyed having you here and having the chat. But that is everything. We will leave it for today, and we will be back Monday with our standard live stream product reviews. But until then, we'll see you in a bit. Bye.